All right, let's move along here. Let's move on to today's poll of the day. As always, we start off with our poll of the day. So today's poll of the day: did Bryce Harper exceed your expectation of him playing at first base? If you guys missed it, living on a rock, Bryce Harper finally played at first base. He debuted there this entire weekend. Started on Friday, played 3 days there. So first off, it was a great job that he did. But that's today's poll. So right now, if you guys want to vote, right now you have to head on over to my Twitter account at Barcelona Philly. Would appreciate you guys follow there as well. Today's Twitter poll is: did Bryce Harper exceed your expectations of him playing at first? And the options are yes, holy crap, or no, as expected. He played as expected there. So you guys can go ahead and cast your vote. We have 6 votes so far, and yes is in the lead right now. So definitely drop it in there as well. But let's get into this weekend real quick, and then we'll get back to the comments. So if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, keep dropping in there. We'll get to those in just a second. But over the weekend in Cleveland, the Phillies lose a series to the Guardians, 2-1. And game one, this was the debut, and this is what many people were watching this game for was to see the debut of Bryce Harper at first base. Phillies would fall just short, 6-5. It was just a run that they were just missing. The bottom of the seventh inning, you had back-to-back home runs from Bryson Stott and from blanking here, JT Realmuto. JT gets a 2-run home run shot. Bryson Stott with a solo shot home run. And that cut the lead to 1. Unfortunately, the Phillies did not have enough in the tank, and they would fall short in this one. Ranger Suarez would go 5 innings deep. He allowed 8 hits. He did give up 4 earned runs. But at the end of the day, the Phillies just did not have enough runs in this one. On Saturday night, the Phillies bats really didn't show up. They only put up 2 hits in that one, right? And of course, rookie for the Cleveland. I'm gonna keep confusing it with the Indians, but it's the Cleveland Guardians. Tanner Bybee. He had a great performance for the Indians as he went 7 innings. He had 8 Ks in that one, and he looked great. I mean, especially for a rookie. But Phillies bats is really what you take away from it. They really did not show up with their 2 hits. Zach Wheeler looked really good. Went 7 innings, a lot of fun earned, 8 Ks. And overall, the Phillies just could not get any runs going. And so you head into the final game. You're trying to avoid a sweep. And listen, you've lost both games by 1 run. Both games, 1 run, you lose. So what are you going to get on Sunday? An 8-5 win here. Finally, they avoid the sweep. This one would require extra innings, as it would take 10 innings. And of course, a game that you go into extras, the Phillies just erupt in the top of the 10th inning. They put up 4 runs in that 10th inning. We sweated out a little bit in the bottom of the 10th, but the Phillies find a way to get it done, and they avoid the sweep here. You get the blown save, of course, by Craig Kimbrell, who, of course, this was an interesting matchup because both teams have really good closers, Emmanuel Clase, and, of course, Craig Kimbrell here for the Phils. Clase continue his save streak. He got the save on Saturday. Craig could not finish it, but Junior Marte, he saves the day with the save in the 10th inning. And Aaron Nola looked good in this one. 7 innings pitched. He allowed 6 hits, 3 earned, and 7 Ks. So why do you think I say that? I take more positive way than negative. The big positive I take away has a lot to do with the trade deadline, and that's Bryce Harper debuting at first base. The long await of Bryce playing at first finally happened, and he knocked it out the ballpark. You saw the athletic ability. You saw just the balls on this motherfucker. The balls on Bryce Harper are ridiculous. Jason brought it up here today in the TikTok comment section. Or was it here on YouTube? Raynell drop. Yeah, here it is. So what did you think of the Harper leaping catch? To me, the lasting image over the weekend is Bryce Harper leaping into the cameraman pit and getting the foul ball out, right? That shows effort. That shows who Bryce Harper is, not being scared to put his body on the line after all the injuries he's had. The dude's playing at first base because he can't really throw the ball far and hard. He's just had Tommy John surgery a little less than a year ago. And so you're putting him at first so you can try to optimize your lineup, essentially. And you can keep Kyle Schwarber out the field. And you just rely on just hitting. We'll talk about that in just a second. But he looked fantastic there. Acrobatic catches, like I just mentioned, with the foul ball that he caught in the cameraman pit. Balls getting hit right away. The first ball that was hit was right towards him on Friday. And he gets the ground out, or he gets the ground ball, runs it out. You see the acrobatic play where ball gets fucking it's a sky drive right to him, line drive right to him, I should say. He gets the catch and then gets the out at first base for the double play to end the inning. Gets the ball to ground instead of flipping it to Ranger Suarez. He decides to run out Josh Bell. You fat motherfucker, I'm gonna run you out. I like the balls on Bryce Harper. To me, that right there, seeing Bryce Harper play the way he did at first base, really, really, really eased a lot of just worries that I had about the Phillies heading into deadline, because you're solidified for it. And by the way, you just got an improvement at first base. It's not like you got someone there. You got an improvement at first base. It looked better than Rhys House. Now, it's only 3 games you saw a Bryce Harper at first base, but it is very, very promising and very, very pleasing to see what you saw of Bryce Harper at first base. And so I'm excited to see what more Rob Thompson can do with it. But the big problem here again is the hitting, and it's the clutch hitting, and it's the reliance on the long ball yet again. This is something we've talked about even last year. When you rely too much on the long ball, this is what happens. Last week, we talked about the midweek series against the Brewers and the reason why you lost that one. And the sole reason why you lost that one is because you couldn't come up with clutch hits. And that was the main reason why you lost that series. And a main reason why you lost this series was, again, you could not come up with clutch hits. Last week, I think I pulled up, was it 3 for 21? They were with runners in scoring position against the Brewers. This 3-game set, this over past weekend, the Phils were 5 for 20. So that's not good enough still. We talked about the 2-game hit that they had yesterday. It's just not enough. It's not enough, especially when you're going up against an Indians team who have solid pitching. Gavin Williams, Trevor Bybee yesterday on Saturday did a good job as well. We talked about Emmanuel Clase as one of the best closers in this league as in majors as well. You have to be on. You can't just rely on the long ball. That's what the Phillies did, unfortunately. And obviously, one of the problems that you hear a lot of is the lingering concern of Phillies fans of the leadoff position. Of course, Bryson Stott makes history yesterday. First player since 91 to get 4 walks and record 3 stolen bases. It's incredible that he got that yesterday. And obviously, a lot of people want to see him at the leadoff spot. I've always said, I'm not mad at rotation. I think that rotation is needed. I don't think that you should be playing the same players every single day. But to me, one thing that is clear is my number one option at leadoff is Kyle Schwarber. If you want to change things up, I'm in full agreement with that. But again, the conversation that's being brought up is we should move Kyle Schwarber out of the leadoff spot. And to that, I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree with that one. I think that in general, Kyle Schwarber, you've seen what he can do. I mean, the weekend prior was a big one. That Padres series, he was huge. And it gets you the home run in Milwaukee, the first game, second game, he gets that big RBI, and then he gets cold after that. And he's been cold since that second game against Milwaukee, which we were live for and had a lot of fun for. But, of course, I think to me the bats really just were inconsistent. Leadoff spot obviously is a big problem. I think Kyle Schwarber over the weekend was someone like 1 for 11 over the weekend, so that's obviously not good, especially from a leadoff guy. And I know when your leadoff guy is always relying on power, it's not a recipe for success. I understand that as well. So we'll see what happens this upcoming series here. We'll talk about that in just a second. But for Kyle Schwarber here, he's going to stay a leadoff, guys. Topper is going to keep relying on him. We'll talk about the lineups here in just a second. But Topper is going to keep relying on the same lineup here. He's going to keep relying on Kyle Schwarber to lead off here, and I don't think that exactly will change whatsoever. But it is good to see that you finally found your first baseman. That is big. So I think that does change a little bit things here at the deadline time. I'm curious to see if they still are in on pitching. Fifth pitcher is still an option here. But now with Bryce Harper solidifying first, you might not need another outfielder. I still think you do, but obviously this solidifies a little bit more. Phillies have to play small ball, not try to. Yeah, I mean, you're not lying, man. It's versatility. You can't always win like that, especially when you're going to go up against a team like Cleveland that you just went up against, who are fundamentally sound, and it can be hard to kind of hit on those guys. So I completely agree with you. They cannot continue relying on the long ball over and over again. It just needs to be better than that. I mean, and dude, how about the so telling play that's so telling is Friday night. You know, I was a trade. I forget who it was. I think it was Brandon Marsh. It's a ball deep to center field, and Straw does a great job of cutting it off, and Alec Boehm running slow as shit and Straw gets the out at home plate. So you got to run hard. You want to get runs against a team like Cleveland. You got to run hard, and you got to find those gaps, man. You got to find those gaps. So listen, Baltimore's another good test because, ironically as it is, and Jason's question here for people who are listening on podcast, Jason's question is, how is Baltimore's pitching? It is solid. It's a solid team. They're not world beaters, right? But they play well as a team. And so we're talking about another team that plays fundamentally good baseball. And so for the Phillies, they have to be sharp. The hits need to be better. You can't just keep swinging for the fences. You are going to be back at home, which is big. But today you have Kramer going up against Christopher Sanchez. Obviously, it's the fifth day, so you're going to have Christopher Sanchez here rolling again. And another opportunity for Christopher Sanchez to kind of solidify his role here. But Dean Kramer, who will be the pitcher here tonight for the Baltimore Orioles in 2023, is 10-4 with a 4.80 ERA through 108 and 2/3 innings pitch. I'm sorry. So Dean Kramer's 27 years old as well. So we'll see what he provides here for the Baltimore Orioles. That is game one. Let me see here. I'm going to pull up the starting lineups here for the Philadelphia Phillies. Let me pull it up here so you guys can see as well. Share screen. Here we go. All right. So here's the lineup for both teams. For the Phillies, batting leadoff again. There you go. I told you guys. Got batting leadoff again. Kyle Schwarber starting. He's going to start in left field this time around. Trey Turner is going to be batting second and starting at shortstop. Batting third and back at DH is Bryce Harper. Batting fourth and starting at right field is Nick Castellanos. Batting fifth and starting at second base is Bryson Stott. Batting sixth and starting at third base is the newly called up again, Josh Harrison, who's been battling his injuries. He's back. Jake Cave will now be playing at first base. He will be batting seventh. Garrett Stubbs starts today, and he will be your starting catcher. And then batting ninth is Johan Rojas, and he'll be starting in center field. So no Brandon Marsh here today, as Kramer is he's a right-handed pitcher here. Let's see here. Curious to see. Oh, they got Aaron Hicks now. It's another one of those teams that just have a bunch of cast-offs. James McCann's in. Is that James McCann, right? No. Yeah, James McCann. James McCann is now in Baltimore. Mateo. So it's an interesting lineup here. Westberg back at second. So it should be an interesting one. Now, obviously, we've had series with Baltimore where they get the best of us. I remember the 2020. We lose a series to Baltimore, and Baltimore was worse than they are now. And I'm just ripping my head out. We got swept. Dude, we got swept in that series. So it's not a guarantee here, but I think it's a great test here for the Phillies. And I think that the road going forward is pretty easy here for the Phillies.